Kenyatta has said that his father challenged him to be the president. President Uhuru Kenyatta has challenged Kenyans to stop concentrating too much on how to make money at the expense of passing good values to their children for a better tomorrow. He encouraged parents to pass good values to their children in order to build hopeful generations ready to take on bigger tasks ahead of them.
Activate so that those who finish are also able, at events like today, where we also participate with private.
We are a young foundation. Mastercard Foundation was created in 2000.
How to get dignified, fulfilling, and sustainable opportunities within the creative system.
The area of arts, sports, are area, and we figured that that's been one of the greatest obstacles that young people.
I'm a beneficiary of Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program. I studied business administration from Ashesi University in Ghana.
Or have resulted in people finding it very difficult, for example, to get easier to access capital. We have, for example, this program that we're launching today. What is it all about? Going to benefit people like yourselves and millions more, I hope.
We have heard time and time again that access to credit is really critical for young people to be able to because there's a high mortality rate for young startups and for businesses.
Thank you very much. There's a young gentleman at the front here.
At a university pursuing economics and statistics. I was a Mastercard Foundation beneficiary.
Informal sector is the backbone. All these issues, for example, of licenses. You remember not just the business that you're doing. When we support those hard-working, committed.
Thank you for your question. When you talked about the informal economy, not only is it the backbone
in Kibera Slum, that is Nairobi County. I want to talk on behalf of the young people that are seated here.
That you grow up in. So I would be lying if I didn't say I didn't want to be like my father.
Really thanks to my mom, who said you can be anything you want to be. Anything.
With regard to what has brought us here today, you started it yourself. So the credit goes to you, having initiated the process. I think the public should know that. The second thing, Your Excellency, is that we are aware that there is a youth budget, and you have about 17 million children in primary and high school. And I think you don't sleep without thinking about them. To the extent that the idea of skilling and reskilling, which is what this is all about, is also your idea. Because one of the things you tasked me to do, you are a very strange person for those who don't know you, but was to ensure that we move towards enabling our youth to be able to employ themselves.
I thank you for co-creating this unique program with us, and I embrace you as our partners on this crucial journey, one of which is brimming, I believe, with possibilities and the potential to increase opportunities for our youth in terms of finding fulfilling and dignified jobs. Indeed, by joining us, you have added momentum to the quest for the realization of my administration's agenda to harness the ingenuity and the resilience of our people, which fires our underlying hope in tomorrow's beauty and promise for Kenya. Our youth, as I have said severally, are our nation's greatest resource. Indeed, as I have traveled across the country, I am inspired by the creativity, the boldness, and the resilience of our young people as they use their talents and energies to innovate and to forge a better tomorrow for themselves as well as Kenya as a whole. And even as we acknowledge the strides we are making, we recognize also that there is still a lot more that needs to be done. A significant number of our young people are either unemployed or underemployed, and they are struggling to make ends meet in our fast-paced society and economy. I am also aware that our young people face significant structural, financial, or technical barriers that limit their access to jobs or entrepreneurship. And indeed, it's for this reason that my administration is taking bold action to eliminate the barriers that prevent our young people from reaching their full potential and opening up opportunities for gainful employment. We are making steady progress and delivering monumental positive changes in creating opportunities for all. And in that regard, and to equip our young people with the necessary know-how, we have this year successfully transitioned to secondary school 100% of all pupils who sat their end of primary school examinations. Furthermore, in response to our young entrepreneurs' keen appetite for procurement opportunities, we have, as I stated earlier, rolled out the Affirmative and Preferential Action Program, which we call AGPO, that has set aside 30% of government procurement opportunities for enterprises owned by youth, women, and also persons living with disability. In addition, we have made significant gains in creating an enabling environment for job creation, which gives us the assurance that our labor will indeed bear fruits. We have also invested heavily in our transport, communication, energy, and technology infrastructure, and we are at close to 100% universal mobile phone coverage, while 74% of Kenyans are now connected to the grid, electricity grid. Kenya has a very strong and very vibrant private sector. We are also located in what I believe to be the most dynamic economic region in the world, and Kenya plays an important leadership role in that region. Indeed, on account of this comparative advantage, a number of global companies have established their continental or regional headquarters here in Kenya. Furthermore, as Rita has just mentioned, social economic integration of the African people is the greatest task of our time and indeed our generation. Kenya was among the first countries to ratify the Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, which will provide a common marketplace for over 1 billion people in Africa and create enormous opportunities for our entrepreneurs and companies. We, I believe, have a strong platform to expand job opportunities for our young people. We are now seeking to unlock their potential, with this platform being an important avenue to allow them to transform their lives, to transform the country, and to transform the world. This program that we are about to launch today will contribute significantly towards this goal in several ways. Firstly, it will support TVETs to improve quality of content and instruction, providing 21st century employability skills and demand-driven training that is relevant to the labor market, and create pathways to work for graduates, including internships and apprenticeships. I'm pleased to note that the program also builds on the excellent reforms that have been undertaken by the Ministry of Education to make TVET more relevant and better aligned to the needs of our economy. Secondly, the program will build on the Ajira digital program that we launched as a government to provide work readiness training and link young people to digital-enabled work and increase access to work opportunities in the digital economy. It will enable technologically savvy Kenyan youth to take full advantage of our extensive technology platforms to create and connect to jobs, obtain accurate, relevant, and timely labor market information, and build a virtual support system and mentorship ecosystem. Kenya is on the verge of a digital transformation, and this program will catalyze the creation of new and quality jobs across the entire country. The third pillar of the program will enhance the creation, growth, sustainability, and productivity of over 200,000 micro, small and medium-scale enterprises. This will be achieved through a partnership between Equity Group, represented here by James, my good friend, the Equity Bank Foundation and Mastercard Foundation, and on the other hand, by Joshua Waigara here, and the KCB Foundation and Mastercard Foundation, who will work together. Together, these institutions will provide about 100 billion Kenya shillings in capital, business development services, and market linkages. These partners will also provide financial and digital literacy and entrepreneurship training to MSEs to support owners to grow and sustain their businesses and to mentor other entrepreneurs in the network. When small firms and entrepreneurs access financial services, they obtain the resources they require to grow, expand into new markets and opportunities. It will also create jobs and establish intergenerational wealth. The benefits then create a ripple effect which generates employment for others beyond the direct beneficiaries of the access to these financial services. It is in this context that the two banking institutions are expected to create more than 2 million jobs through this program over the next 5 years. I wish to thank the Equity Group and Equity Bank Foundation, the KCB Group and the KCB Foundation for their contribution to this program. Both these institutions have committed to provide substantial funding from their own resources, for which we are grateful. Over the 5-year period, Mastercard Foundation will provide 10 billion to the KCB Group against their contribution of Kenya shillings 50 billion, and Kenya 7.2 billion to the Equity Group against their contribution of Kenya shillings 32 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a clear indication of how public-private partnership works at its very best. And I encourage other partners to emulate these foundations, Mastercard, KCB, and Equity Bank, who have all joined hands with government to build a secure future for our young people. Through this initiative and other initiatives that I was talking about earlier, the sons and daughters of Kenya are boldly stepping into a new future in which their individual and collective contribution will transform Kenya and Africa. Again, as I conclude, I wish to reiterate my commitment to the young people of this country. You are the most important agenda for me and my administration, because you are not only our future, but our present. We will continue to ensure that we level the playing field for you through education, training, and we will increase opportunities for you to be the very best of Kenya. To maintain the momentum on job creation, I commit to host an annual jobs summit which will engage young people, partners, and all stakeholders to take stock of progress and advance actions to increase the quality and quantum of jobs available to our young people in our country.
For a concerted effort to be made to provide solutions that address these challenges in a way that will improve the incomes that farmers make and improve the employment creation opportunities in rural areas.
I was shocked that there were only 6 girls in the class of 60.
Engineering student, so I set out to look for an eco-friendly solution to provide fuels that could be used by mothers in my community.
It aims at empowering the nomadic community through innovative agricultural techniques, mostly of the arid and semi-arid areas. So, having lived in Turkana, being brought up in Turkana.
I think for me and for many other young Kenyans, the main challenge that we face is how it's structured is that it prioritizes theory of the practical bit of it.
There's this misconception that women cannot be very good in technology or women are not into technology. It starts even from a very simple process.
You, Kevin, in the farming world, what are some of the challenges you had with farm water?
Exposes you to very many challenges, not just as a youth, but as a young person. I would say one of those farmers, and it's very exciting for them to finally see that young Africans can actually provide solutions to.
With that notion, right? Whether I'm working in government, whether I'm in the private sector, whether I have my own initiative, I need to leave knowing I need to do A, B, C, D better. So I wanted to find out what are some of the...
Both private sectors, public sectors, and all the young people. I believe that young people are creating job
conversation with you. And if there are any tidbits or lessons that you picked up from them, you can share those online. The hashtag is Young Africa Works.
This is a public-private partnership between the government of Kenya, the private sector, and the foundation. And we are very, very grateful for the reception and the warm welcome we have received from the government, from the private sector, and actually from young people. We are very, very grateful for that, because that's the energy that has made Young Africa Works in Kenya possible. Just before I get into the details, I wanted to have a moment to set the context. From our point of view, this is such an optimistic time to be in Africa. It's an optimistic time for Africa. There's so many flagship initiatives afoot to improve governance, infrastructure, telecommunications, power generation, financial services, and very soon, right now, we are at the cusp of the creation of a single African market. Africa, as you know, is the world's youngest continent, and in fact, it just gets younger every single day. The working age population will soon surpass that of India and China by 2035. And in fact, there's never been a more consequential time for young people to come of age. They're already growing up in a time where they have better access to education, to healthcare, to technology, to untold opportunities unimagined by their grandparents and their parents. They're pursuing fresh ideas in business, in public service, in the creative industries, as we heard a moment ago. And as I travel across Africa and listen, what's very clear is that there is a sentiment of pride, ownership, creativity that's palpable. So I believe that's why this will be the African century. And we at the Mastercard Foundation would like to be a part of it. Now, many of you already know the foundation. We are a Canadian organization with a vision of a world where everyone, all people, deserve the opportunity to learn and to prosper. For the past decade, we've been working in 30 countries across the continent, including right here in Kenya. And together with many partners, our work has advanced financial inclusion, education, and livelihoods for young people. And these programs, cumulatively, have already benefited more than 33 million people. So over the next decade, we will focus on the single greatest challenge or opportunity of our time, and issue a topic that I know is on the mind of every president, every parent, and every young person. It's employment, jobs, work. So in the coming years, we know 100 million young people, 100 million young Africans will enter the workforce. And how they fare will be a significant predictor of economic and social progress. So this new strategy, Young Africa Works, as the chair said a moment ago, has set this bold target of 30 million young people across Africa, especially young women, in dignified and fulfilling work. Now, we can't do this alone, and we know that we want to collaborate, and we are already collaborating, and in many cases co-creating solutions with government, the private sector, with entrepreneurs, with educators, and most importantly, with young people, because they have the greatest stake in the outcomes. Together, we intend to implement Young Africa Works in 10 countries. This strategy is about one word, and that word is transformation. Transformation of economy, transformation of opportunity, and transformation of how we solve problems. Now, to do so, we will take a number of steps. The first being to align with each country's economic agenda and build upon the progress and the momentum that they have already achieved. Second is we'll target industries which will be work destinations for skilled young workforce. Third, we want to grow the private sector, especially entrepreneurs and especially small businesses, because they are the fuel and they are the engine of economy. We want to partner with the educational community to equip young people with the right skills. And because this is Africa, we will want to use technology. Technology to achieve scale and to connect young people to opportunity.